What's up, Ye Nation, to another episode of Cowboys Talk. Today's topic, free agents. Free agency is obviously very, very important. I'm not going to be talking about other teams' free agents that we may potentially sign. I would like Gerald McCoy. He was on the Cowboys before. Justin Simmons, a phenomenal safety from the Broncos. He could be really good too. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about specifically the Cowboys free agents, who I think they should re-sign, who I think they should cut, and yeah. Okay, so here are all of our 23 free agents for this season. Most importantly, Dak Prescott, obviously. The free agency doesn't actually start until like March something or other. But I hope that they do re-sign him because he is vital to this team. Many of the other team members want him back, like CD Lamb. And I think it'll just be all around way better if they do get him signed. I don't want to have to rely on a different quarterback. So I hope they do re-sign him soon. Next up is Tyrone Crawford, who is a pretty good defensive end. He's not the most vital, but he is decently important. He is a bit on the older side. So I'm kind of on the fence if they should re-sign him. Next up is Sean Lee, who is a very old veteran, a linebacker on the Cowboys. He's constantly injured, which is a big problem. In fact, I don't know if he's ever really played a full season, honestly. And dogs are howling out there. That's just great. Yeah, so I think Sean Lee could actually make a great linebackers coach. I don't know if we're going to bring him back or not. Andy Dalton can go. What I think they'll do is have Dak Prescott at 1, have Garrett Gilbert as backup, and then Cooper Rush or Ben DiNucci at 3rd or 4th string. We better not ever have to bring out Ben DiNucci again. So we can let Andy Dalton walk. Andy Dalton has stated himself that he wants to get a starting position somewhere else. So that's not going to be here in Dallas, because if we reassign Dak, there's no reason to bring in back Andy Dalton. Cam Irving, he's not the greatest out there, but I think we should re-sign him. Just because. Next up is Joe Looney, who's our center. That one's not that important. Aldon Smith. I definitely want Aldon Smith back. A very, very, very great defensive end. It says he's an outside linebacker. That is not accurate. He is a defensive end. Why are they still howling at? What the hell? Yes, I want Aldon Smith back. Blake Bell, I think he's like a backup tight end or something. With Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz, we don't need him. Joe Thomas, honestly don't know who he is. I think this is our long snapper. I think his name is Lodasor. I think that's how you say it. He's our long snapper. Honestly, we don't really need to re-sign him. Long snappers and punters and special teams dudes like that are pretty replaceable. So I think we could save some money by cutting him. We don't necessarily need to re-sign him. But if we do, it could be cheap. Chidobe Awuzie. This guy is such a hard name to pronounce. He's one of our main corners. I'm thinking that they're going to draft Surtain at number 10. So they're going to have to cut one of our corners. I'm hoping it's Jordan Lewis, because I think he's probably the least important out of all of them. And they might re-sign Awuzie or draft even a second corner in like a 3rd or 4th round maybe. CJ Goodwin is the same as him. I'm not sure who Justin March is, probably a backup. I think they should cut Jordan Lewis. Malik Turner, He's not. He doesn't get that much use, but he could be. We could cut him or trade him or something like that. Not honestly sure who this guy is. He must be a third string running back. Eli Anku. I think I've heard of him, but honestly don't really know much about him. Don't know much about this guy either. Oh, here we go. Xavier Woods. I want him cut. This guy sucks. Okay, he's worst. He's the worst safety I've ever seen in my goddamn life. So I want him cut. Noah Brown. He's not that important. Rondell Carter, not honestly sure who that is. Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson actually did pretty good. He's actually kind of important, so I think it would be kind of good to re-sign him. And Antoine Woods is decently important too. Now, lucky for us, dudes like Zach Martin are not on this list. But what they need to do in this draft is focus on a safety. They need to get a corner, like Patrick Surtain. And they need to focus on the offensive line. Our offensive line is not the worst, but what plagued us was injuries. That was the worst thing. But as Zach Martin, our Pro Bowler right tackle or guard, I don't know exactly, will stay. Van Der Esch is not a free agent. We got him back. And Sean Lee, we may re-sign him, but he is on the older side. Van Der Esch, the problem with him, he is young. He's not a veteran like Sean Lee. He is good, but he's very injury prone because I think he injured his collarbone in college, and it's just not been the same. It's very fragile. So we may want to draft a linebacker. We might want to draft a corner and a safety, and then probably like an offensive tackle or a guard. Also, our defensive line was pretty bad too, because we were one of the lowest in sacks, and putting just pressure on the quarterback is very important. So I think we could focus on that too. So that's my opinion on all of our long snappers. Oh yeah, another take that I have. I think Chris Jones, our punter, who's a veteran on the Cowboys, I think they could cut him and save a lot of money that way because he is on the older side and he just had a surgery, so he might not be as good as he used to be. He was gone most of the season anyway because of that surgery. So we had our other guy out, Hunter Niswander, and he works out just fine. I mean, it's not too hard to be a punter. So I think we could cut him too and save a bit more money there. And what we should do about Dak Prescott, I want him re-signed. As much as I like him, he isn't worth $40 million a year. I would like maybe like $30 million for 5 years. I think that would be decent. But we'll just have to see what they do. The free agency doesn't officially start until about March something or other. So we'll see who we do re-sign. I'm mostly hoping for Xavier Woods to get cut because he sucks. Draft a better safety. Surtain at number 10, I hope. There is talks about the Eagles getting Devontae Smith. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. I think Devontae Smith could actually go maybe to the Dolphins. I don't know how high he's going to be in the draft. But with Howie Roseman being a terrible GM, and he's overall just kind of cheap. I mean, look at last year. They could have had Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb. So I don't know if they are going to make the smart choice and go for him. They might just have Jalen Hurts as their quarterback. Who knows what they're going to focus on in the draft. Obviously, they are in cap hell, so they have to cut a lot of their guys. They did just cut Deshaun Jackson. The Packers just cut Kristen Kirksey and Ricky Wagner, who are pretty good, so they had to cut them just because they needed the cap space. Luckily for our situation, the cap isn't as bad as that. It's not the greatest, but it's not as bad as that. So, yeah, that's that's basically it. In the off season, there's going to be a lot more cuts from teams all over the league, and most of them won't apply to us. But there are the guys that we could get, like Justin Simmons, the phenomenal safety from the Broncos. We could get him. Yeah, and that's really about it. So I'll catch you in the next episode of Cowboys Talk, where I talk about why I'm actually pretty optimistic about the season upcoming.